It may seem difficult at first, but everything is difficult at first. Miyamoto Musashi. Let's jump into these charts. This is one of those days where everything is up. We'll first jump into the S&P 500, and if you remember, we have been running artificial intelligence helping us look through our charts both on the weekly, 2-day, and half-day or 195-minute chart and take a look at what it is predicting. And of course, yesterday for the next 5 days, it was an 80% possibility of a $5 increase. And we see things up for the day 0.16%. We can see where things had drifted down over several days and for the last day and a half have been moving up just slightly. We're still long, of course. Now, one thing I pointed out to you, and I continue to point out, you see what the high was last week, a 550.12. We're at 546.96. So we're trying to gain back up as to where we were last week, particularly where we hit that high on Thursday, the 20th of June. So again, we'll be paying attention. We're the first day of the latest 2-day candle. Things will finish drawing tomorrow at the close of the market. And that reminds me, my friends, as I told you earlier in the week and last week, I'm heading to Europe with my family tomorrow. I will be in Rome dealing with some matters. I will then be on a boat and out in the Adriatic for about a week or more than a week. And I am doing my best. I have Starlink with me the whole time, so I will do my best to continue to upload the shows in a timely manner for you. If I cannot do that, I apologize if things get out late, but I will be working hard to make that happen each and every day for you. But please be aware, I rarely do this, even when I do travel. I always make a very concerted effort to get things up, but if there are problems with Starlink on the boat, then that may slow me down. So I'll do my best. Now, what we see going on with the S&P, like I said, we are still long. We're still waiting to see things garner some energy after sliding sideways. And as we talk about it, digesting the prior up gain up movement to see if it will continue to move up. We're still long the S&P. NASDAQ 100 up a little more, but again, not much, 0.25%. Same thing as the S&P. We haven't hit the high of last week yet. We had two doji showing lots of indecision, had a lot of energy on the one for the Friday, Monday, less on the Tuesday, Wednesday. The Thursday, we're about halfway toward average, and we'll see if we top average volume tomorrow, but it is a green up candle sitting right there on the weekly trend line. It's not penetrated it. And of course, we see for 2.5 days up movement on the NASDAQ. It has been what we have been practice trading this entire time after we had a fairly classic turnaround. And things, of course, have been moving up quite nicely for us. We look at where we are. Oh, and by the way, the predictive modeling shows us that indeed we are looking at an up move of 85% possibility of a 5% increase. So again, that sounds good. We'll see if that plays out. And again, we're experimenting, seeing how accurate this modeling is going to be for us. So we are looking at TLT now. It is up 0.40%. And I will tell you that according to our modeling, slightly up, a percentage possibility of 60% and a $1 increase. I told you from the beginning, I was hesitant. We did not have any kind of classic turnaround here. We didn't have the volume backing up the green candle after the red bottom. In fact, we didn't even have average volume there when we hit our interim low. We had a doji with higher volume, which again is not anything I trade off of, followed by a green up candle. Went up 3 and then down 1, went up for 3 weeks and then down a week. That would have pulled us out right there, probably with a loss. That's why we wait for volume to help us. So again, we're not in any kind of up move here, nor would I be pulling the trigger on anything with a 60% possibility of things moving in our direction. We can see on the half day as it is crossing through the weekly trend line, just the first day of the latest half-day candle. First day of the latest two-day candle pushing through the weekly trend line. We can see on the half day staying just above it. Again, up for the day, 0.40%. But our Heikin-Ashi candlestick on the two-day trying to pass through. And of course, we don't have much volume there either. We'll see how that candle wraps up on Friday. And again, how TLT ends the week. Now, gold, our predictive modeling tells us on gold, slightly down, 70% chance, a $2 decrease. So still short is what that is telling us. We've seen gold move down starting after its interim. Well, what it did is it went up and hit what we have here. Whenever you see a purple line on our charts, I tell you, this is our either ceiling or floor if it's on the bottom. We bounced off twice. That latest bounce off that occurred after the week beginning the 20th of May, that would have been on the week beginning the 28th of May. That's where things topped on that first week and moved over that second week, then down for 2 more weeks, and then really sideways over the last 2 weeks. Now, gold is up for the day, 1.33%. What do we have to show for that? Is simply a doji on the 2-day. We see things up in the morning, not quite as high in the afternoon. And again, we'll keep an eye on things and see if the predictive modeling of a 70% down movement of $2 over the 5 days starting on Wednesday, if that actually plays its way out. There is a lot on this weekly chart regarding a down push, and we'll see if that shorting opportunity does indeed play its way out. Lastly, we will take a look at HODL. And again, our predictive modeling says 80% possibility of a $3 decrease and up for the day, 0.62%. But you can see where we had that big down day on Monday, down in the morning, down in the afternoon. I believe my position sold out in the morning. Half of it did. In BITI, as I told you guys, I was short, and we did close that position, half of it. We're letting the rest of it ride, seeing which way that goes. Remember, BITI is the ProShares short of the Bitcoin Strategy ETF. So again, just like we have short funds for the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, 20-year bonds, not for gold, we also have one that's quite liquid for Bitcoin. So I was practice trading that. Well, I was actually using some real money. And again, not in any way giving you any advice on what to do. I'm just telling you what I was doing in a practice trade, well, in a real trade. But again, encourage you to practice trade all that you can. When you think you're getting good, then of course use a small amount of money. You can see you could buy mini shares at $7.80 or so. You could buy, well, it's $8.25, $8.24 right now. You can buy a number of shares for $100, and then, hey, if you even lose 20%, it's $20. But it's a good way to practice once you start feeling like you're getting your feet on the ground and you want to put a little bit of skin in the game. But again, this is going to test you and going to see how well and accurate you are with your practice trading. But again, after you've had some experience paper trading. That is where we are on Bitcoin. Let me just go over a couple more things there. You can see there's not a lot of volume on the weekly, not a lot of volume on the 2-day, not a lot of volume on the half day. We're just sort of running along sideways 1, 2, 3 days now after that real punch down on Monday. Market could be digesting those losses and getting ready to move down again. We will keep our eye on things, but our predictive modeling is telling us that, we are looking at more down movement. That is where we are, my friends. I so appreciate you being with us. Always love to hear from you. CW@chartingwealth.com. And by the way, that $3 down movement is not on BITI, the $8.24 ETF. That that $3 down movement is on the $69.41 HODL. Remember, when we track, we're always tracking the underlying asset. We are not tracking the inverse fund. At least I don't do it here. I don't discourage you from doing that. But here for the program, I just want to stay on the same funds all the time and not confuse people. That's why we always stick with SPY instead of its inverse SH, QQQ instead of its inverse PSQ, TLT instead of its inverse TBF. We don't have an inverse. There is one, DGZ, for gold, but it's highly illiquid. And of course, the inverse that I've been using here is BITI for Bitcoin. There we are, folks. God bless you. All the best. Patreon members, you will receive an email today. I've already picked out our weekly vertical crossovers from the S&P 500. Those will be going out to you. Encourage you to chart those, practice trade, maybe one or two or three of the ones that you think are really good. And also included in that email will be your charting cryptos, commodities, and currencies, and the three-wave trades. Now remember, all those materials are always loaded up as soon as they're available first at the Patreon page. So if for some reason you don't get the email, they're all at Patreon. All the best.